Christian Kerez. A man without qualities. The self-emergence of design has become synonymous with good architecture. When we look at how form appears in architectural design, we encounter, among others, the two concepts of structuralism and morphogenesis. While in the latter, the self-emergence of the form, which is structure by itself, is central in the concept of structuralism. Form is subordinate to various rules, as for example, form follows function, form follows structure, form follows force, etc. Swiss-based architect Christian Kerez describes himself as a man without qualities. He started his career as an architectural photographer and later opened his own architecture office in Zurich. For an attempt to classify Christian Kerez into the previously mentioned form emergence concepts, one first has to look into the three main categories that lead to the emergence of the form in his designs: staging, interconnectedness of space, rules, regulations and norms. Staging is one of Christian Kerez's hidden qualities. Starting as an architectural photographer, Kerez not only uses the craft to study architecture, but also develops a flair for staging and composition. If consciously or not, Kerez uses this skill throughout his career as an architect. One could speculate that the staging of space is an unconscious, yet consistent rule in his design decisions. One of the few times the view becomes a parameter is in one of the earlier projects, House with a Lake View, in which the main aspect of the building is staged view on the lake. The interconnectedness of space is one of the main and easiest parameters to follow in Kerez's projects. Big open floor plans are a common practice that has its roots in staging views from the inside and make the floors appear transparent from the outside. When opening up the space from the inside, it clearly has an aesthetic and a beneficial effect on the project. Floating empty floors are unfortunately hardly perceived from the outside. In his early works, the interconnectedness only takes place one-dimensional, either vertical or horizontal. The bigger the scale of the project in his later work, a much more three-dimensional approach in both directions emerge. The Flemish radio and television headquarters is a square grid with perforated slabs that can be covered with a hollow, self-supporting floor structure. Not only does it offer the flexibility of an open floor plan, but the perforations serve as vertical connections between floors. These can be used as breakthroughs for stairs, elevators, installations, light and air shafts. Whether in his work or in his daily life, Christian Kerez is always looking for rules. In his architecture, he often faces regulations given by the building code, but at the same time he imposes rules for himself as design parameters. In the House with One Wall, Kerez reduces the task of a two-family house quite simply to the one dividing wall that is necessary. So the title of this project is also the underlying rule. By reducing the architecture to a single element, Kerez creates a dependency and thus, although based on a simple concept, a very complex house. This single wall performs the task of several architectural elements. It is at the same time supporting structure, installation core, and it defines the spaces of the two halves of the house. In the competition for the Wholesome Competence Center in 2008, the design rule of Christian Kerez goes back to the idea of the interconnectedness of spaces. This building houses several different programs, such as education, research, administration, and so on. For the Swiss architect, such a headquarter building is only interesting if one is also aware of the many different functions. So the rule here would be to provide a view from one department to another within the building. Kerez achieves this with the implementation of light wells that puncture the slabs of the otherwise rigid structured slab and column building. These visual connections, or perfectly circular area voids, give the opportunity for employees and visitors to meet while providing a sense of the building's organization and size from within. For structural reasons, this perforation of the floor slabs then conditions the inclination of the columns inside and on the outside of the building. So to sum up, one could say that there are two elements in this project. One is the basic structure of columns and slabs, which could be described as a rational system or all. And the other are the circular voids that open different perspectives in an otherwise very rational building. The emergence of form in Christian Kerez's work is, as seen, mainly and most strongly influenced by the rules he imposes on his design decisions. In a broad sense, then, one could say that for him, the form follows the rule. In this attempt of some sort of classification in the broadest sense, however, it has to be noted that the definition of the rules and thus how the shape or form of his architecture emerges vary immensely. Sometimes the shape is an integral part of the design, and other times it is only a byproduct of other systems.